PharmaPhobic is powered by Achieve the Lifestyle, a company dedicated to helping you empower your health, redefine your lifestyle, and all for the health of it. You're listening to PharmaPhobic, where we challenge the state of health in America. I'm Janie, a physician assistant, and I've seen how healthcare keeps people dependent instead of truly healthy.
And I'm Dan, a veteran turned fitness pro here to uncover the truth and explore simple and sustainable health solutions. From big pharma to big food, we're exposing the conflicts of interest keeping us sick and finding better ways to take back our health.
No fluff, no gimmicks, just real talk, real solutions, and a little bit of fun along the way.
Well, hello there, everybody. Welcome to
again.
another episode of PharmaPhobic, where we help you achieve the strongest, healthiest, and most capable version of yourself. This episode is powered by Achieve the Lifestyle. That's Janie's and
Let's
I's
go.
health coaching business. That's what we do. We help people live better lives through the pursuit of long-term health. Okay. What are we getting into today, Janie?
So a week or so ago, I put up a text box on our Instagram. So if you're not following us on Instagram, we're at Achieve the Lifestyle, asking people if they have any questions or any topics they want us to specifically speak on the podcast, because we did that one time from our friend Destiny, and it was great because we want to talk about the things you want to hear about.
Yeah,
Now,
that's the purpose of this thing.
Yeah.
We're here to help people, not just rant about
so
how messed up things are.
we talk a lot about what we want to talk about, and that's great if that resonates with a lot of people. But if you have something specific, then definitely let us know. Now, I only had a few people respond, so we're going to need more participation from y'all out there. But our friend from Jiu-Jitsu, Guy, that's his nickname that
And
he
he does
has me
jujitsu.
call him,
And
because I struggled to pronounce his real name. So he was kind enough to say, just call me Guy.
Gi, and he does jujitsu in a gi. Anybody?
So he gave us a lot of great things. But first we're going to get to one thing, because his all have some similar theme. And we're going to get to the one other question that was asked by a woman who was referred to us from our friend Laura. And she was asking a question regarding her husband. So he aligns with you a little bit. So I'm going to pose a question to you. So any fitness plans, lifestyle to naturally boost testosterone? My husband wants testosterone replacement therapy, but I don't really want him on it. He just turned 40 and is either active or previously some capacity involved in the military.
Okay. So, couple things there. First, let's talk about the environmentals, about things that are going to stunt your testosterone.
Alcohol,
right off the rip. That's a libido killer, even though guys back in the day when you were in college, you're like, oh, let me have a little drink before I go out there and do stupid stuff, or get wild or have a wild night. Yes, there's that, but it really is a libido killer. So alcohol consumption, how much alcohol are you consuming? Military guys, we tend to consume plenty of alcohol, especially when you're still on active duty. That's the thing to do, depending on what kind of unit you're in, like the cavalry, whatever. It's a lore of drinking. Sailors, Marines love their alcohol. Anyway, that's one. 2, body fat percentage. You got to be leaner, on the leaner side, to have good testosterone production. If you're of a higher body fat. So, when you start creeping in there into the 30%, high 20s for men, you're going to be a little chunky. That's not good for testosterone production. But you also have the other side where if you get really lean, like a lot of dudes drop into that single digit and you look great. You look like a Greek statue. I mean, like an extra on 300, but testosterone's going to go down as well because you don't have it. Testosterone's going to need some sort of fat.
high rocks,
CrossFit. Yeah, don't. And that's the other one. How are you training? Especially this gentleman here is in his closer to 40. Hello, 42 years old over here. But my downward spiral with this started in my 30s because I was CrossFitting a lot. And for years, I had 2 workouts a day. So I would do my military workout in the morning, which was usually some form of running, not because I liked running. I liked it at first, but after a while, I'm like, I freaking hate running. But I would do it because it's part of my fitness test in the military. So I would run in the morning, and then in the afternoon, WOD time, baby. Let's kill it. What do we got? 30-minute AMRAP. What do we got? Some freaking crazy ass high intensity thing where we're redlining in 5 minutes, like whatever it may be.
Side note, somebody recently just did a CrossFit workout and the movement was high pull hang cleans. That was the movement for the workout.
High pull hang clean. So they weren't even turning it over.
Yeah. I have issues. Anyway.
Man, listen, if you're out there, if CrossFit gets you going and you're doing CrossFit and that's your thing and that's what gets you in the gym, God bless. But for the people that long term, that's not where it's at. Yeah. And I say that's after 10 years of CrossFit in my bag.
Quality of training can influence your testosterone.
Yes, quality, it's the quantity that's going to start killing you as you get older. So like I was saying, I had morning workout, afternoon workout. And then when I got out of the military, it became CrossFit workout. Let's burn it down. Sometimes it was 2 classes, a strength class and a workout class, and then jiu-jitsu after that. 5 days a week of that, okay? So you're looking at 10 high-intensity workouts. Well, really, it's more like 10, 15 workouts because 1 workout, another class, so 2 CrossFit classes and jiu-jitsu. 15 high-intensity workouts a week. That's wild. Mm-hmm. That's crazy. And you met me. When we met, I was in the what's wrong with me stage where I looked phenomenal. Like if you pull the pictures from back then, side note, I look better now because I'm heavier, more muscular, stronger, and got the same abs. What? Anyway, that's a long story. But I looked great, but libido was in the tank. I couldn't sleep well. I definitely was underfeeding. That's the other one. Are you eating?
I put food in your mouth and made you go to bed earlier.
She put food in my mouth and made me go to bed earlier. And then I gained some weight. The abs kind of went away a little bit. And then what I started doing was training less. So then I took 1 class away. I would only do the strength class and then I would go to jiu-jitsu. So I started training less. And that started getting me a rebound effect where I started sleeping better. I started eating more. Back then I was just getting my hands on any calories I could because I had very erratic eating patterns where I would have a big breakfast at 4:00 in the morning, went to work by 5:30 in the morning. I was coaching, didn't eat anything in the middle of the day, trained hard at night, and then I would eat a big dinner at 10 o'clock at night, but then I just started, hey, let me get a burrito, let me get some calories in, whatever it is. So that's another one. Intensity, quantity of training really is what's going to do it. As you get older, guys, volume is going to kill you. It's going to kill you. If you're the type of guy that just wants to do 25 workouts a week so you can say, look at all the stuff I'm doing, it's going to kill you. It's going to wreck your libido. So you got to get really smart. The quality of training has to go up. We still want to get strong. We still want to maintain muscle mass, but you won't be able to
aerobic base
and have an aerobic base. So you want to get your zone 2 stuff in, which there's a lot of people poo-pooing on zone 2 right now, but I got something for that ass. Anyway, so quantity of training needs to come down. Quality of training needs to, if you're doing a lot of training, the quality is probably trash. So you need to raise the quality of your training and then reduce the quantity of training. Be smarter about that. Interrupted sleep patterns, things like sleep apnea and that sort of thing are going to mess up your testosterone. Not eating enough, of course. Eating too much BS. We talk about this. A lot of those ultra processed foods are killing your hormonal production. Yep. So there's that.
And stress management.
And then chronic stress, of course. If you're high strung, you have a high stress job, which is the military, and they're running you around, your hours are going to be weird, then you might not have as much control over your stress levels, even though for the tactical community, the firefighters, the first responders, the Leos in the military, we tend to operate under a lot of stress. So you're really redlining every day. Mm-hmm. But to you, you're like, oh, it's just another day. I'm chilling.
Yeah.
I'm chilling. But your body is like redlining anyway. So all those things will mess your testosterone up. Now, if you don't have control over stress because you're in a tactical community job, then that means that everything else that you can control, it behooves you to really dial it in, right?
Right.
So,
And so for this gentleman, I would, obviously I had told this woman, Dan's a veteran, and so he understands the whole military aspect of things. So encouraged her husband to reach out to Dan, but it's going to be looking at what is he doing right now. There's a little bit of a chicken and an egg thing when it comes to testosterone, because some people, they're not producing enough testosterone because of their lifestyle, and giving them exogenous testosterone in some form will sort of help give them the little bit of propelling that they need to then put on a little bit more muscle mass. Here comes the energy, decrease fat, things like that. And so personal choice if you want to initiate the testosterone. Not going to tell you yes or no on that. But either prior or concomitantly, you need to be working on improving the quality of your food. So getting enough lean protein, like we said in the last episode, a variety of fruits and vegetables, avoiding heavily processed foods, avoiding things like sugary beverages, so soda, juices, avoiding alcohol, okay? Alcohol can then go over into how are you managing your stress? Because if you're relying on alcohol to manage your stress, you're not managing your stress.
yep.
And so improving the quality of your diet, having good stress outlets, quality physical activity, like Dan said, stuff that's going to build you up, not tear you down. Also, in the episode about men's health we talked about, Dan said having skill-based hobbies. So something like jujitsu kind of wraps up physical activity with a skill-based hobby.
If you're really stressed, you got to be, asterisk, you got to be really smart about how you train jujitsu, because it could turn into a barn burn.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, or maybe it's woodworking or, anything we said that.
Fishing, hunting, whatever.
Yeah. Social connections, being well hydrated, I think is one that doesn't get a lot of speak on it. And quality sleep. So looking at how's your upper airway function? Do you have any sleep apnea? Have you been evaluated for that? And also, what's your gut health look like? If, you're like, hey, I eat healthy, but I'm still like, I have like gas, diarrhea, constipation, I'm bloated, I look huge after I eat. Gut health needs to be dived into. Now, all this stuff, like I said, needs to be addressed prior to, also, micronutrient deficiencies. Zinc plays a huge role in testosterone. Mm-hmm. What's your zinc intake look like? So addressing all those things prior to initiating testosterone, because if you find a huge deficit and room for improvement, let's do that. Do you feel better? Do you still need testosterone? Well, if you do, maybe it's at a really low dose, less development of side effects that way, okay? Or it's, don't care, I want to start testosterone. Cool, let's do all this stuff too, because I have had patients who don't do any of that and then they're on testosterone. I'm like, then why are you taking the testosterone? So you have more energy to sit on your couch and eat Cheetos.
Yeah.
That's why you're taking your testosterone. False. You need to take your testosterone to be more optimal, to be a productive member of society and do cool shit and be an awesome participant in your family. So work on all these things along with taking the testosterone or prior to.
Yeah. Okay. Let's look at it. Testosterone plays a lot of roles in men's function. It gives them a little bit of that go-getter vibe, like taking care of business type of thing. That's driven by testosterone. Obviously, muscle mass, libido, blood sugar regulation in men testosterone plays a part in this. So if you have low testosterone, you're going to have a hard time with blood sugar regulation, right? And what does that mean? Yeah, you're trending up. You're pre-diabetic. You're trending towards diabetes, that sort of thing. There's a lot of studies there with giving men that are pre-diabetic or trending towards diabetes, putting them on testosterone, and then that blood sugar regulation immediately improves. So that's very important. So that's why I'm not, if you need it, you need it. If you need the TRT, you need it, jump on that thing. Just make sure there's quality. What are they encasing it? Delivery methods, where are the injection sites, all this stuff. That is a conversation for another day. But things that are going to help you, whether you're on TRT or not. to boost your testosterone. And if you are going to be on testosterone replacement therapy, then I feel like this is foundational before you even jump on it. You got to get leaner. You got to get leaner. If you're 30% body fat, you're 25% body fat, you got to bring that under 20% for sure. 20, and I'd say even closer to 15% to be in a really good spot. So above 20% body fat, you're 25, you're 30, you got to bring that down. Got to get leaner right off the rip. That is going to help with testosterone production. You got to lift weights. If you're not lifting weights and you're one of these cardio bunny dudes that is just doing all sorts of crazy cardio with light weights, AKA high roxing, CrossFitting, whatever the hell the thing is of the day, you know, and the military tends to lean heavily on that. We love the endurance bias stuff. So if you're doing that sort of stuff, you got to reevaluate that. You probably got to limit that sort of training, because if you love it, I mean, I don't know why you would, but if you love it, you're looking at more like once a week of doing something like that at a very controlled volume, okay? Not just going crazy and burning yourself down with it. You want to do stuff that builds you up. And then we got to work on getting stronger in a more controlled manner. So now we're thinking about, more bodybuilding type or performance-driven workouts where we're progressively overloading. The volume is lower. We're doing sets of 8, sets of 6, and we're working on getting stronger. And then I would look at taking days in between. So instead of training 5 days a week in a row or 6 days a week in a row, we train more like 3 days. And then in between, you're going on walks or you're doing some sort of lower level aerobic activity. So there's that. That's going to help you manage stress. Got to figure out the sleep, got to put some energy into your sleep. If you're having a hard time sleeping, you got to really do a deep dive into what could be throwing your sleep off. I mean, I don't care if it's freaking EMFs and you got to unplug the Wi-Fi every night, which made a difference to me, okay? But, you know, getting blue light blockers, turn screens off an hour before. Do we need to jump on the sleepy time tea train? Do we need to take magnesium supplements or a GABA or whatever the hell supplements that help you sleep, you know, valerian root, all this stuff? Do we need to jump on that? That sort of thing to get your butt to bed and sleeping better. That's going to be the other thing. I would definitely start there before going on TRT. Now, to the lady that she doesn't want him to take it, I would be like, why don't you want him to take it? Because it really isn't as bad as you may think. But if you're not doing any of this stuff and you jump on the TRT, so now you're a fat guy with higher levels of testosterone, congratulations, your willy works sparingly. It's not going to work as well. That's what takes men into, I think I need TRT, is usually libido. That's what gets them in the door. Okay. So congratulations, your willy works, but you're still sitting on your butt. Now you're still high body fat. Now you're aromatizing all that exogenous testosterone. So your estrogen levels are shooting through the roof. So you really are making it worse long term. Okay. But I would contend that be like, the other thing to consider here is concussions. CTE will affect men's testosterone levels. Especially considering the military, that your chances of getting CTE are higher depending on what you do. But I've plenty of studies here with special operations types like Navy SEALs, active, that are doing crazy stuff every day, crazy macho stuff every day, gunfights. They're kicking doors. They're in phenomenal shape. They look badass. They're go-getters, big beards, burly men. Zero testosterone. Yeah. These guys are like, I've never seen a man with zero. Navy SEAL, zero testosterone. And he's out there doing what it do, manly as hell. So, and that is a lot of, concussion stuff, that sort of thing, the blast that they take from breaching and things like that. You jump out of a plane, that plane's moving really fast, you're going to have some sort of concussion, you hit the ground, concussion, et cetera, artillery, tankers. These sort of people that are around these big blasts, that's a micro concussion happening every time. So that's another thing that could be affecting them, in which case you're going to need the TRT.
Okay. All right. So to that woman, if you have any, or if anybody else, this sparks further questions, let us know. Send us a DM on our Instagram or email us at info@achievethelifestyle.com. Okay. Moving on to Gee's questions. Let me start with. Okay, let's start with this. What's something you used to believe that was healthy that you've now changed your mind about?
CrossFit. That's easy. Freaking CrossFit.
Yeah. Burning it into the ground every
Yeah.
day, I thought was great for my health.
High intensity workouts all the time. If I'm not doing high intensity, I ain't training. That's what I believe is healthy. But I don't believe is healthy anymore.
Eating at a significant caloric
Chronic caloric deficits,
while
yep.
being really active.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's another thing. Really, the cross. I'm again, 10 years of CrossFit, 11 years, including time that I stopped doing it, but I was still coaching it. Level 2 CrossFit coach.
Yeah.
So I'm not talking from the outside. Now when I talk about CrossFit, I'm like, oh man, we did a lot of stupid shit back in the day, huh? Those 2-a-days. Back then everybody thought they were going to the games. So you were, oh, so and so, such and such games athlete is doing all this. So I'm gonna do all that too, because I want to look like him.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. Too much working out, and too much high intensity stuff is not healthy.
So I would
Long
think
term.
that one thing I thought was true was if I wasn't seeing the results. So we were just talking about this last night. I was that athlete who was CrossFitting 5-6 days a week, but I still had a little bit of I thought it was fat. It was inflammation. May have been some fat too, but I just didn't quite look like the effort I was putting in. I didn't look like somebody who's in the gym 6 days a week. I look like somebody who's maybe in the gym 2 times a week.
Yeah, and you were 6 days a week. You were going hard.
Yeah. And my thought was, if I'm not seeing the results, I need to do more. I need to go more. I need to go harder in my workouts. I need to be stricter with my diet. I need to add in more supplements because obviously I need to add in a pre-workout because my energy's shit, but hey, I still need to do more. I was doing all this stuff drastically incorrect.
It took a while to get you out of there too. I feel like I unplugged from the matrix first.
Yeah.
And then I was like, hey, maybe you should be doing this. And
So I think my
doing less of
body
that.
basically forced me. I had a shoulder injury. And so I stopped doing CrossFit. I started doing Power Athletes Johnny Wad, which is like CrossFit Light. And I decided I wasn't going to kip. So people who understand what CrossFit is, it's you use like a hip pop to be able to do pull-ups and dips and things like that. I decided I'm no longer kipping. And I remember when I started doing the Power Athlete workouts, there would be like 30, my upper body strength was trash, 30 pull-ups or more or 30 push-ups, and I would do them all. And Dan and I do not have kids. I didn't have any other responsibilities after work, so I had the luxury of time. I would do them all strict. And at that time, my bank of strict pull-ups was 3. And it took me a long time, but I was like, I refuse to say that I'm strong and I can't do a strict pull-up or a good amount of them. And so I suffered.
It's funny because I think we went opposite routes, with our results. I looked a certain way, but my performance was ever decreasing. I felt like I was getting weaker. I was getting slower, just burning out that way. But I looked great. I looked phenomenal. But my times on CrossFit workouts and my weights were going. And you had the engine.
I was populating that leaderboard.
Always on the leaderboard. She got an engine. She could go. And you had the engine, but you didn't look the way that you wanted to look. That's hilarious. And not to say that looking a certain way is the only way you value health.
But I had this conversation the other day with some friends where I don't look at it and be like, oh, well, back then maybe I was a little bit harsh on myself, but I've improved from then. Now, if I notice a change in my physicality, I don't think like, oh no, I'm doing something wrong. I'm like, oh, my body's trying to tell me something. I need to figure out what I need to back off of or lean more into or what, because our bodies aren't stupid. Our bodies are smarter than us, I would argue. And so it's going to tell us things. We just need to give it the respect it deserves and say, okay, what are you trying to tell me? And maybe it's not leaning more into what I'm already doing, because that's obviously not working. Mm-hmm. So I would say we believed that burning the candle at the 5's end we created on the candle
every
day, and just
time you walk
running ourselves into the ground was to be in optimal health. We wore the badge of honor that we destroyed ourselves every day.
Which I got to give CrossFit a little credence here. I'm going to give the credit that is due at CrossFit. For me as a coach, it exposed me to all sorts of methodologies. So strongman, powerlifting, kettlebell work, conjugate methods, all the Olympic lifting. So I am very versatile in background when coaching strength and conditioning now. So it gave me that. CrossFit made strength training popular for women.
Yes, 100%.
Okay? Jacked women, the looking jacked and having muscle and that sort of thing. You got to give credit. That credit goes to CrossFit for putting barbell in women's hands, for sure. It also, and you could say like bodybuilding is experiencing a revival, especially among women now. I think CrossFit started that.
Yeah.
Powerlifting is experiencing a revival, especially among women. Olympic lifting. CrossFit gets credit for that. So really bringing fitness and barbells and kettlebells to the mainstream, that credit goes to CrossFit.
Yeah.
For you probably wouldn't have really started lifting weights if it wasn't for CrossFit.
You're right.
So,
I would have been still being a cardio bunny.
Exactly. So we gotta give them credit on that. And I think the original design of CrossFit, if we would have stayed with the 3 on, 1 off, which was the original prescription, 3 days of work, you take 1 off. And then usually there was a strength workout. Well, you might have had 1 or 2 big lifts, and that was the workout. Then you had a longer Metcon, and then you had a shorter Metcon. That's usually what the workouts would if you were following what they called the .com, so the CrossFit.com progression, which is where I started in 2008.
Right.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah. I'm talking shit about CrossFit now, but I've been around, bruh. You weren't here in 2008. So you guys weren't here in 2008.
I got exposed to CrossFit via the military from my friend Christina, who had been deployed. She's like, I did this workout with the Marines. You have to try it. And my very first workout was Filthy 50.
Was that? You know what? I think that was my very first workout too. It was Filthy 50s.
And I did it at the Fort Riley Army base.
It's 10 movements, 50 reps of each movement, by the way, guys.
I think it was. Or maybe it was Junction City.
Anyway. But it's funny because my first workout was that one too. And I did it with Marines. Marines got me into CrossFit. Actually, it was a Navy EOD guy. And I was, back then I was a big runner. And I was 155 pounds, just a light. All I did was run, push-ups, sit-ups, pull-ups, run. But I was a 300, I was in above average fitness for the military. So, max the PT test, that sort of thing. And I got my ass whooped on a CrossFit workout. I was like, what the hell is this? I didn't come back for 2 weeks. I was like, that's crazy. That's nonsense. And then they talked me back into it. And then after that, I was hooked on it.
And now let's take a quick break. Have you heard about collagen and how amazing it is for your skin, hair, nails, digestion, and joints, but have no clue which one to choose? I've been there. A few years ago, I stumbled upon Bubs Naturals, and let me tell you, I've been hooked ever since. Here's why I swear by them. Bubs Naturals keeps their quality standards sky high from the start to finish. Their collagen blends perfectly in coffee, or really any other beverage you love. Plus, they've got convenient to-go packs so you can stay on track wherever life takes you. And it doesn't stop there. They'll donate 10% of all of their proceeds to charities that support veterans. How awesome is that? Oh, and they've leveled up their electrolytes too. The mixed berry, that's my absolute favorite. It's light, refreshing, and not overly sweet. What sealed the deal for me? Their electrolytes are NSF certified, made right here in the USA, and just like their collagen, every purchase helps give back. So do your body a favor, head to bubnaturals.com and use my code JANE20 at checkout for 20% off every time you order. Tired of looking like you lost a fight with a powdered donut every time you work out? Yeah, I was too. That's why I ditched the messy chalk and switched to Chalkless. Chalkless is a new, clean, residue-free grip enhancer that goes on in seconds and lasts for hours. No clouds, no cleanup, just a rock-solid grip. Whether you're crushing it in the gym, dominating on the pickleball court, or hanging on a rock face like Spider-Man, Chalkless has your back. I even hit my 350-pound deadlift PR at Summer Strong using Chalkless. Locked in, zero slip, total confidence. Ready to level up your grip game? Head over to chalkless.com and use code Jane Brown to snag 10% off your order. But the other thing I have to give CrossFit credit to is the community. I would say almost all of my friends are directly or indirectly because of CrossFit, the adult friendships I've made.
Yeah, for sure. Community is another thing that it brought back. And
we met.
Yeah, we met at a CrossFit gym. So there's a lot of credit that goes to it. And like I said, the original prescription might have been a more intelligent thing. Because I'm sure if you did just a strength day only, then you did the longer, as many reps as possible type workouts in an aerobic base type of fashion where you keep your heart rate in a zone. And then you do the burn, you would have gotten better results long term, but that's not what it is anymore, and that's not what it was, what it became, and then it became unhealthy.
So I think being more smart with your training is what that we
had to do. We had to learn.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Next question.
Is there anything else that you believe that we thought was unhealthy or we thought was healthy?
That you've now changed your, when you met me, I thought smoothies were the way to go. Oh. Which they still have their place.
Yeah, but you weren't even having breakfast. You were having a smoothie.
I was just having a smoothie in the morning.
Yeah. Here's another one that chicken and just eating white meat.
Chicken's, yes, just eating
white meat. Chicken and broccoli, that sort of thing. Yeah. You know, thinking that clean eating is going to be all bland and whatnot. Yeah.
Basically everything I did in my 20s.
Yeah, so to me, like just eating chicken, like, I just have to eat chicken and not eating red meat once a week. I used to think that was healthy.
I used to believe that when I was hungover, if I ate the Flintstone vitamins, it would cure it.
Damn. I mean, those things were miraculous, but not that miraculous, you know?
But it wasn't just one. It was like, give me the whole family.
Yeah. Okay. What else did we think? Relying on supplements. So solely, I'm going to eat cleaner, so I'm just going to do a bunch of supplements.
Coffee on an empty stomach was not harmful. Yeah. Which I know that there's mixed reviews out on that, but especially people who have had trauma in the past. So that could be both of us, because my childhood, you jumping out of planes and in the Army, having coffee on an empty stomach is just going to amp up that adrenaline in your body. And that's what you seek to make you feel alive. So then you could say that's why I was probably so drawn to CrossFit and burning myself down. That adrenaline with that helped me get out of, the lull. So, yeah. Okay, next one. If you could change one habit to radically improve your health, what would it be and why?
Interesting. Man, I could say breathing changed a lot.
No, if you could change one habit.
If I could change right now, or what helped me change my health that I would tell people, be like, hey, learn to do this.
I think say one thing you did that radically improved your health, and then one thing that maybe you are currently working on or you are aware you need to work on.
I think reading The Oxygen Advantage definitely changed my thoughts on a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So breathing, learning to breathe properly, and then I notice how dysfunctional it is in people now, where you see a lot of open mouths. So basically getting back to nasal breathing, training nasal breathing only, completely different gear. Mm-hmm. And now you're actually building a solid, robust aerobic base to where you can go harder without your heart rate going up as much as it normally would.
I think that really radically improved my aerobic base, because that's all I did during COVID, because I bought the Rogue Assault bike, and it was in our living room, and I would just do 20 minutes nasal breathing only, seeing how many calories I could get maintaining the nasal breathing. And it was not much at first, and then I just did it either every week or twice a week, and just built it.
So you see, and with people like us that were in quote unquote shape, we could do a lot, work really hard, but you're working in those upper heart rate registries, and it's like you immediately shift to that. Mm-hmm. It's like, hey, I'm doing a little exertion, so I'm gonna go open the mouth and just push really hard, breathing through my mouth. Whereas we had to reprogram ourselves to actually work on building a lot of capacity with your mouth closed, and then open your mouth and go to to mouth breathing as a last resort.
Yeah, it's like using a weight belt.
Or it's like, I think of it as cars, like high-end vehicles, Porsches, Ferraris, Lambos, have a really, really long first and second gear.
That's
so
probably
you
a better
could start
analogy.
pushing, you could rev that thing up, and next thing you know, you're still on first gear and you're going at 70 miles per hour already. Boom, you shift to second, you take that thing even higher. And then by the time you hit third, fourth, and fifth gear, you're at 100-something miles an hour.
That's a good analogy.
Whereas the low quality cars, you have to shift them out of first gear immediately. So it's one of those where if you think of it in the zones, and a lot of people say, oh, the zones aren't real, whatever, let's use the zones as an analogy. Zone 1, zone 2, zone 3, zone 4, zone 5 in a pyramid. You want that zone 1, aka the first gear, to be really big. And that's gonna hold up your pyramid. And you wanna spend a lot of time there. And then you go to zone 2 and it's really big too, but it's smaller than the 1. And you spend a lot of time there. And what you should have over time is this effect where you're doing a lot of work and a lot of like you're putting out some exertion, but your heart rate's still lower and your breathing's still controlled. So by the time you hit that final fifth gear and you do resort to open mouth breathing, you're going hard.
Yeah.
Whereas everybody else already jumped to 5 at the beginning of. Make sense?
Yeah. So I think for me, one thing that radically improved my health, I would say, just because it's so apparent in my mind, is when you and I made changes to our diet and I started eating like 1 gram per pound of either goal or current body weight. I can't remember exactly what it was, and I still try to maintain that. That was a marked change in my health. My body composition responded. Now, I'm not saying everyone's going to appreciate that. Dan and I set ourselves up for a body composition change because we were eating a really high fat diet unintentionally prior to this. But I increased protein and I noticed my cravings change. Where before, I worked in office type settings, so people bring in donuts, cookies, pastries, whatever, and it would be a willpower. I know that stuff's not good for me, but ooh, gosh, it smells so good, all that stuff. But when I started doing the more protein and cutting out a lot of the processed foods, I just remember being in an office and not being like, people had cookies, and I was like, I'm okay, because I know that if I want a cookie, I want a good quality cookie, right? I don't want just the little Chips Ahoy somebody's rolling in. But I also noticed I started when I was hungry, I had that ability to recognize like, oh, I want meat, because my body began to understand like I want something that's satisfying for an extended period of time, not something that's going to light up my brain for 2 seconds and then go away. Hyper-processed foods are drugs. Convince me otherwise. And I just felt that shift with sort of my brain, body, or whatever communicating with me of what's satisfying, what feels good. I know certain times in my period, you better hide your carbs, but I no more crave fats. I more crave meat and things like that are more satisfying.
Yeah, like you were craving nourishment, not just.
And it wasn't like I need to Kool-Aid man through this break room wall to get me some food. It was more just, I should start the process of seeking some food soon.
Yeah, I think, closing out on the breathing, learning to breathe nasal most of the time before I go into
Screw what you said. I'm going to go back to breathing.
I'm going to back you up, but I want to close that out. Because this brings me to the thing. Learning to breathe, nasal breathing, the majority of the time, working out in a nasal breathing state, that sort of thing is one big return health habit that we learned over time. But with this, it's reading ingredient labels. That's what you're getting at. And actually cleansing your palate of the fake taste and the fake flavors that we are all so conditioned to like and enjoy. So because that's what really happened when we really, and guys, here's the thing. We've been paying attention to our food for years. We've eaten paleo, we've done keto, we've done all these trends, quote unquote. We followed them because we've been health conscious for a long time. So, and we're still learning and cleaning stuff up. So a couple of years ago, we had a marked change in our eating habits, like Janie said, and it really, now it's like nourishment. And for me, if you guys didn't know, I've said this on the podcast multiple times, but hi, I'm Dan and I'm a sugar addict. Bad sugar addict. Like I'll eyes roll in the back of my head, and next thing I know, I wake up 2 days later with chocolate around my face. Like, what happened, guys? What happened? So I can't do it. But to go cut it out for a prolonged period of time, it really helped me, like 30 days without eating like sweets like that, maybe a little bit more. It put me at a point where now what it takes for me to feel satisfied is way less.
Yeah.
Way less. Like I used to eat 2 pints of ice cream. No joke, and be like, yeah, I need that. Now I can only eat certain types of ice cream because the conventional stuff, it just has this overwhelming flavor in my mouth. And then I'm just like, oh, I don't want that.
And it tastes fake now.
And it tastes fake. And then when I have the ice cream stuff, I just have a little bit, like half, 2 pints I used to eat. Now I'll eat like half a pint and I'm good. I'm like, I literally can say, I'm good. I don't need it anymore.
Yep.
So it made it easier to walk away. So definitely cleaning up the ingredients in your food is the other one. That's like a huge, huge health booster to people.
Is there anything that you think that you need to improve that you just haven't done yet?
Things that I need to improve that I haven't done yet. We're learning a lot in our 40s now. Things are changing. And we're, the stuff that I tell this to people all the time. Oh, I worked before. When was before? Oh, I was 25. Okay. You're not 25 anymore.
Yeah.
So as we were getting into that age where, things are slowing down a little bit, you do certain things and you're like, oh, I'm a little tired. Whatever. I think I did too much or whatever. So I think now I'm trying to like really listen to my body. Hey, I'm not going to do this workout because I think that's going to run me over. I'm going to do this instead, that sort of thing. I think still, I'm a meathead. I start lifting weights. I put some music on and I'm run down. And as soon as I touch the weights, I'm like, oh no, we're going, so I need to like quelling that back and really, I'm learning to deal with that. Cleaning up food still, micronutrient things where I'm like, okay, what am I not eating? What can I be deficient on? So we're getting into the details now because we've done all this foundational work.
Yeah.
What about you?
So I would say probably that. So I'm in the process of, I'm actually going to get my blood work done Monday. This is Saturday. So getting blood work to check now that I'm 40, my hormonal profile, see where my fasting insulin's at, all those things. I'll probably do a gut health test, maybe a HTMA, so hair tissue mineral analysis, see if I'm deficient in any micronutrients. Really just try to optimize because I just want to feel good and I want to keep depositing into my bank of health and muscle mass and things like that. So as I get older and natural progressions happen and whatever life is going to throw at me, I have a huge reservoir to pull from to be able to withstand.
Yeah.
So
I think we're at the point too where we're like eliminating stuff, too. Like I'm looking at ingredient labels hard on everything, lotions, soaps, fragrances, like deodorants, all that stuff. Just so, we're getting crunchy with it, guys. Like, but this is after years. So that's kind of what, like just refining, getting down to the nitty gritty of it, simplifying life as much as possible. I think simplicity is key.
And I think to what you said is I have this sort of dichotomy within myself of, in my head, I'm like, I want to, do the planned workouts. I want to go to jiu-jitsu, all the classes available that I have the time to, I want to participate in. But my body's like, girl, sit down. Okay. Just sit down. But in my head, I'm like, but I can. And it's like, doesn't mean you have to. And so really just trying to find that sweet spot of, like I said, always say, what's building me up, not what's tearing me down. And I feel like because we're at a new jiu-jitsu academy and it's closer and my schedule has changed, I think I've gone doing a little bit too much lately. And I'm not supporting it on the back end with sleep and food and that stuff. So I think I need to balance that. So it's something that I need to be working on.
Yeah, I think my other one is my zone 2 stuff that I've told you that I want to be more consistent with.
That was your New Year's resolution.
Yeah, and I've been better, but I recommend zone 2 to everybody, but the thing with me is that how do I say this without sounding like I'm very conditioned. Like I can go rounds on rounds on rounds of jujitsu. I'm in phenomenal
But you need
shape.
to maintain that.
Exactly. But there's a lot of stuff, mitochondrial density that we need to worry about. As you age, you start losing mitochondria. Heart, if you do high intensity cardio, it's like hypertrophic to the heart's a muscle. And then if you do zone 2, it makes it flexible as well. So that's why you need to do different. Yeah. So I need, as I'm aging now, I think zone 2, there's a lot of value there. So I need to get better at doing that. The thing is that I don't feel like I'm out of shape. So, and I see it as I don't have a need for this because I'm killing them at jujitsu. Or if they're killing me, I can just take the punishment for a long time, without feeling tired. But anyway, so yeah, that's the other one that I want to get better at.
All right. So we'll end it with this one. What's something you used to believe was healthy that you've now changed? Wait, did I already say that? Yes, I did. Sorry. My apologies. Last one. What's one wellness trend you swear by and one you think is total BS? Wellness trend.
Zone 2 for the average person. If
You swear by it?
I think a lot of people are missing a lot by not doing it consistently. I'm talking to the average person by not hitting zone 2 with your mouth closed. Mm-hmm. You can talk about taping your mouth shut to sleep. That's another one that I think helped me out a lot. No seed oils. We haven't done a deep dive into seed oils, but now the conversation's getting really popular in the mainstream. So I feel like I could say it, even though we have been doing it for years. I think eliminating seed oils, there's a lot of value there. And, we'll talk about them in a future episode, but that's a wellness trend that people are having big debates over that take that shit out of your fucking diet, period. Point blank. Sorry for all the cursing, but that's how adamant I feel about it, that the returns for taking seed oils out are huge.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
So
I would say what I swear by is protein, getting enough protein.
That's definitely one that's not.
And I'm not
overhyped.
saying you have to get 1.5, like just at least get 90 to 100 grams. At least start your day with 30 to 50 grams of protein. If you don't know what that looks like, look into it. But prioritizing protein in your diet is huge across so many health parameters that, I swear by it. Now, yes, we can argue the quality of the protein you're getting, what sources. We can go back and forth between animal versus plant. And that's fine. We'll have that discussion. But don't come at me with it until you're getting adequate amounts of protein.
Yeah, I think that's another one. Yep, definitely getting enough protein in. And minimizing ultra processed foods, which if you go back to the seed oil one, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
If you take the seed oils out, you're going to end up not eating any ultra processed foods. So I think that is definitely or if you say no ultra processed fruits, you might end up taking out a lot of seed oils.
Yeah.
So those are wellness trends that I fully believe in. I'll swear by those.
What do you think is total BS?
I wouldn't say it's total BS, but I don't like where it's going to go, or where it's going for the average person. It's the GLP thing. I definitely don't like where that's going to head. And now I was listening to a podcast this morning and they're talking about 3s and 4s, and now they're talking about this myostatin inhibiting thing that they're going to give to people with GLPs so they'll be able to retain muscle while they're on the GLPs. And then they're talking about bodybuilders being at 350 pounds and being 5% body fat. So you're about to see these freak shows of people because bodybuilders are starting to run GLPs. So I don't like where it's going. You know the motto here, stay pharma free. So I just don't like the dependence that it's creating in the population, the level of easy button stuff that it's going to give people, the overprescription of these things, because every single healthcare provider is out there slanging them like it's the only solution to obesity. I don't like how they're being used, where their people are being titrated up to these super high levels. just so that they could stop eating, and it's literally turning people into anorexics. They're not diagnosed with it, but they're acting like anorexics, where they're completely repelled by food. Now with that in mind, I can't say it's total BS, because obviously it's helping people lose weight. If you're super morbidly obese and it brings you down to the obese category where you can now start doing stuff to then bring yourself further down, if it helps you control cravings, all this stuff, I get it. There's a lot of benefit there. And then I'm curious, because in this same podcast I was listening to, they were talking about the micro dosing of the GLP stuff. And when I say micro dosing, think of the smallest dose that the mainstream is available on. This dude's talking about taking 1/25th of that, the smallest dose that they give you, 1/50th of the smallest dose that they give you. This is what he's talking about taking when they talk about micro dosing. And there seems to be, at least he's making a very compelling case. And there's other reputable health people that are making a very compelling case for the use of these GLPs in minute doses as compared to what they prescribe them at.
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to the seed oil conversation, because if you look at how seed oils affect you on a biochemical level and how your mitochondria get, for a very simplistic way, out of whack because of seed oil consumption and high sugar consumption, GLPs can help at that small dose, bypassing the majority of the side effects, help at a cellular level to then inspire more efficiency within the system, so that way you feel better and it's easier for your body to make adaptations that you want in regards to losing weight, body composition changes, and energy levels.
Yeah.
Right? You don't need the big doses that you're at, because when you look at the studies are just looking at weight loss, disregarding at what consequence.
Yep.
What we want to do is, okay, if this is helpful and it's a natural occurring peptide, right? We produce GLP in our body. How can we promote it and maybe give the body a tiny bit amount so that way it can start being more efficient on its own?
Yeah, it's the people that are getting these types of results with it. I mean, look at what he's saying. He said 1/25th of the minimum dose that it's prescribed at. So obviously this is a private clinic, private health coaching. The dude, he's got a research permit, so he can prescribe it at research doses. He doesn't have to prescribe it the same way that mainstreamers in healthcare have to prescribe it. So I always go back to, this is why I say it's not complete BS, but I don't like where it's going. And it's a big trendy thing. If we were flicking channels on TV, every freaking body is talking about these damn things, these damn GLPs. I'm ready to start talking about lifting weights and eating protein, bruh, and getting to sleep and building better relationships and getting outside. Like, we're trying to figure it out away from pharma. We're not the most obese nation in the world because we lack access to GLPs. You see what I'm saying? So I'm ready to get that stuff out of the conversation. But that's what I don't say it's total BS. I just don't like where it's going.
Yeah.
Because if we look at 99% of prescriptions or people that are going to be on this stuff, they're going to get prescribed by a mainstream healthcare practitioner. That's just going to give them the regular doses and is going to try to trade them up. And they're going to turn into people with Wegovy face and Wegovy butt and that don't eat. And they have even less muscle mass than they started with.
Right.
So I say, I don't like that trend. I want to call it BS, but I can't say it's complete BS.
Partial BS.
It's partial BS. Yeah.
So I would say conventional healthcare. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Conventional healthcare for preventative or just general management, non-acute management, is not good at getting people to feel better. It's good at giving medications to quell disease processes to prevent immediate harm. It's also good at traumas, acute injuries, things like that. But what I really would say that I think is complete BS is this glamorization of all this biohacking before you work on the basics.
Yep.
And unfortunately, so with Achieve the Lifestyle, we hone in on basics. That's not sexy. It's not. And it puts a lot of onus on the am I saying that right? Onus on the person to do things, to start making changes, to take ownership of their health. But you know what is sexy? Tell me how many times I need to sit in a sauna, or if I can get this cold plunge, how much money I need to spend on this red light. Do I need to hydronize my water? Do I need to, what's some other things?
Do I need to be doing zone 3, zone 5, 25 times a day while doing backflips and actually rowing upside down, like just crazy workouts?
Yeah, what's all these supplements that I need to take?
How many supplements? How many crazy workouts a week do I need?
And I'm not saying that those things aren't been, they are. They have been, we have a red light. I used it to help heal my skin graft. I'll use it periodically. If I have like an ache or a pain, I'll just sit with the red light on it. These things are not bad, but they are not to be used before you have the basics. If you can't spend time to go outside and watch the sunrise, at least some part of your life, like you don't need to be like religious with the red light. But that's not a good example because some people literally don't have, like, their schedule doesn't allow them to it. See, now I'm overthinking this and whatever.
No, but the biohacking.
What I'm trying to say is, like, you don't need a cabinet full of supplements if you don't even know what foods give you your just array of basic micronutrients, right? If you're not eating a variety of fruits and vegetables, lean protein, healthy unprocessed carbs, but you're like, but I know, like, if I take magnesium, if it does this, if I do copper, it does this, if I do this and all these things, then it's like, let's look at our diet. Let's look at how we're managing stress. Let's look at how we're moving our body. What's the quality of our sleep look like? And yeah, can supplements help with that? Because magnesium's hard to get through our diet. We burn through it even if we just think something's stressful. So 100% magnesium or supplement magnesium. But do you need to be on beta alanine and L-carnitine and all these things? If you've optimized everything else and you want to like layer on good because your foundation's strong, go for it. But if your foundation's crumbly, let's solidify that first.
Yeah, people that don't get quality workouts, people that don't eat quality meals, but they're worried about these obscure, should I be on BPC on one of these other peptides, TB500 and all this other stuff?
It's like, my sleep is crap. Give me some Ambien.
Yeah.
Time out. Yeah, it's like, why is your sleep crap?
Yeah, the biohacking space is distracting because there's a lot of cool stuff, but it's taking people away from, like, bro, you don't even meet the basics.
Yeah.
So why are you worried about all this biohacking shit? You wouldn't have to biohack anything if you were getting in the basics.
I don't think biohacking is BS. I just think people need to utilize it appropriate, and it's not first line.
Yeah, it's the order. Exactly. It's not first line. It's the order in which it should be. So starting off your health and wellness journey with biohacking that's BS. But some of these biohacking things are very useful and can yield good returns eventually when you get there.
Yep.
But if you're not there, don't worry about it.
Yep.
I was going to say there was one more that's also popping up in wellness. Weird diets, extreme diets. Right now, the sugar diet is blowing up. Oh, bruh.
Is this the watermelon diet?
Yeah, kind of similar. It's either fruit fasting, because the guys that are talking about doing it well, the way it should be done, is just fruits for a couple of days. And it stimulates some hormone and turns you into a fat burning machine. I'm low key curious about trying it. Just to see what the hell, but it's going around because people are like, because it's the sugar diet, they're turning it into eating gummy bears and BS all day. Now this only works, supposedly, allegedly, in the absence of protein and fat. So you're going to go like 2 days where you're just eating fruit. No protein, no fat. Here's the thing about this. These people that are doing this, Mark Bell's on it. This other guy that I was listening to on the podcast, he's on it. These people are at the top of their wellness journey. They're black belts in this thing. They've experienced with peptides. They've been lean a really long time. They've lifted weights.
Their foundation is so good that even if this fast causes them harm, their bank is so big to pull from.
Yeah, and that's why they can experiment with it. But they're in this space where they're just so advanced in they're experimenting with other peptides and all this other stuff, and they're really experimenting because they're health leaders in that space. or whatever. So they're getting really jiggy with it. But I hate that the average person that wants to lose 20 pounds is going to look at that and be like, oh, that's the answer. That's the answer. I need to be freaking carnivore. Or I need to be on a sugar fast or on the sugar diet. I hate that.
Yeah.
I hate that. It's like, no, you need to eat real food in appropriate quantities, appropriate amounts of fat, appropriate amounts of protein, appropriate amounts of carbohydrates from whole food sources first. Nail that down before you get into these crazy diets like this and that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And so again, partial BS, because some of those extreme diets do have
their benefits,
but it's like for epilepsy or if you have a chronic disease, they're commitments.
Fasting protocols too. Like I said, I'm very curious about, fasting, like long-term fast and cancer. Like I really want to find out more about that stuff.
It's a Jewish holiday right now that they're fasting.
Yeah.
From sundown last night to sundown tonight.
Yep. So, but these sort of things, I think that, in these extreme circumstances, they'll have value. But for the day-to-day person that's just trying to get healthier, I think that's just going to be noise at this point. You know what I mean? If you don't know how to eat, if you're
it shouldn't be your first step.
It's not the first step, and that's who we're talking to here. First, second, third, people that are just starting out in this journey. All this stuff is distractions, really.
Yeah.
That's what it turns into. But they're selling it and they're pushing it as this is the be all end all. And I hate that. You know what I mean? So I call partial BS on these things. But yeah, that's my answer and I'm sticking to it.
That's it. Those are all the questions I have.
Yeah. Quick little Q&A. Guys, if you got any wellness questions, send them to, where are you sending them, Janie?
Our Instagram, which is Achieve the Lifestyle, or our email address, info@achievethelifestyle.com, or our website, achievethelifestyle.com.
Yeah. Ultimately, we're here to be helpful. We're going to rant and we're going to poo-poo on stuff that's out there detracting from our health, but we want to give you resources and tools so that you can navigate and improve your health situation.
And upcoming things are going to be, one of the guys at Jiu-Jitsu asked us to speak on anxiety, so I will dive into that. Some parallels with depression, but they are different in many ways. And also you locked us in a future guest.
We're going to have a guest on. He's a farmer. He runs a regenerative farm. You've heard us speaking about regenerative farming, but he runs a regenerative farm right here in Delray Beach, Florida.
Yep.
And this is by coincidence. He's a jiu-jitsu guy. We rolled last night, and then I heard him talking about eggs and all this other stuff.
We're like, what?
And, I was like, whoa. And then we went down a rabbit hole of, carbon sequestration and growing pastures and rotating animals so that super interesting stuff that I think more people need to learn about.
Yep. And I will be asking him if I can either volunteer my time or work on his farm for eggs.
Yeah.
Like one day a week, one day, I don't care, but I just need to do a labor intensive job and just get away from
and be outside
the world.
Yeah, no, this, I think that he already agreed to it. So when we bring him on, this is going to be a lot of fun and we're going to learn a lot there. But yeah, always learning, always improving. Guys, we might be further along than, some of our listeners and some of the people that interact with this in the health journey, but we're still learning. A couple of years, I might come back and be like, oh, I was doing this. I was actually wrong about that. I'm doing this now. This is an ever evolving thing.
Yeah. And I would say
stops.
In your health journey, mistakes are inevitable.
Yeah. It's trial and error.
Yep.
It's trial and error.
And so we were in CrossFit for 10 years and now we're like, don't do CrossFit.
Yeah. We're like, there's a better option. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying there's a better option.
Yeah. So it's always evolving and we'll continue to do so.
Yeah. And with that in mind, guys, we're out. But you know what I want you to do, right? I want you to stay pharma-free, baby. We're out. Thanks for listening to the PharmaPhobic podcast. If you found this conversation interesting, which I know you did, make sure to follow us on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And also make sure to check us out on Instagram @Achieve the Lifestyle. And if you're interested in pursuing a stronger, healthier, more capable version of yourself, check out our website @achievethelifestyle.com.
The PharmaPhobic podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only. The views expressed are those of the hosts and guests and do not constitute medical, legal, or professional advice. Always consult a qualified healthcare provider before making any medical or wellness decisions. While we discuss pharmaceutical, holistic, and alternative health topics, our content is not a substitute for professional medical guidance.